The Pronghorn application deadline is August 5th. There will be 1,310 Pronghorn licenses available in 2026, the same number as 2025, and all 18 Pronghorn hunting units will be open. Today we're visiting with Big Game Supervisor Bruce Stillings to go over all the details. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department.
So maybe a good starting point would be kind of just a general overview, some of the challenges that have been facing pronghorn in the last 5-6 years, and kind of set the stage on where we're at, and then get into the comparison in 2026 versus last year. We say that we're on the eastern edge of pronghorn range, and so what does that really mean? Well, we have just enough suitable habitat that we can have a small population that most years we can provide a unique and limited hunting opportunity. Pronghorn are a landscape scale species. They prefer large grassland ecosystems, a lot of shrubs and forbs into the mix. So they like those large expanses of wide open country, similar to what you're gonna see in Montana, Wyoming, where the core range is. So we're just on the very edge. We're much more of a fragmented habitat type, so we don't have those large expanses of grasslands and shrublands. So we're really hamstrung of what the state can support for pronghorn. And more recently, the Conservation Reserve Program, we've talked about those acres going back into production and the impacts that has with white-tailed deer and pheasants. But we don't mention too much about the impacts that has on pronghorn. And on the slope management region, kind of outside Highway 85, a lot of those CRP tracks were also used as pronghorn fawning habitat and foraging, especially when those tracks were in a young planting. So another grassland habitat type that we've lost more recently. So that kind of gives you an overview on what it means to be on the eastern edge of pronghorn range. And within the last 6 years, they've also experienced a number of challenges. We've had much of our pronghorn range in some form of drought since 2020. Last year, we had some rain out west, and then this year in 26, but portions of our pronghorn range are still very much in drought conditions, the extreme western part of the state and then the southwest. And we've seen, just as we have with mule deer, that those drought conditions can be just as detrimental to fawn production as extreme winters. And then in 22-23, we had the most severe winter on record, where we lost approximately 40% of our pronghorn population. Also had poor fawn production after that. And then in 2024, we had a major epizootic hemorrhagic disease event that affected pronghorn. We documented adult mortalities across pronghorn range, and that impacted fawn production in 2025. We saw the lowest fawn to doe ratio in 2025 ever documented since the 1960s. So that kind of sets the stage. We've had 3 mild winters in a row, 23, 24, and 25. So that's kind of been the saving grace, that we're not even lower on the population curve. And although population recovery has been slow, those three mild winters have certainly helped. So we just completed our survey. It's a aerial survey that we conduct each year from late June into early July. We've got 5 teams that are stationed throughout the state, very large effort. We covered over 15,000 square miles. We took over 200 hours to do the actual survey. Those are actual aerial survey hours. We classified over 1,200 groups of pronghorn that we use to determine our population estimate and demographics, the buck to doe and fawn to doe ratios. Population change certainly varied by management region. We can start with the extreme southwest, the Western Bowman Management Region. This is hunting unit 4A. Again, last year in 2025, we documented the lowest fawn production measure on record at 32 fawns per 100 does. This year it was much better at 61 fawns per 100 does, but still well below the long-term average of about 85 fawns per 100 does. So the population was up slightly, about 6%, and then you move into the southern Badlands, hunting units 2A, 2B, 3A, and 3B. We saw fawn production at about 48 fawns per 100 does, which is again below the long-term average, but then better than the 2025 levels. The population was about the same as last year, down just slightly at 3%. We saw hunting units 2A, 2B, and 3B have slight decreases in the population, where Pronghorn and hunting unit 3A had a slight increase. Continuing to move north into the northern Badlands, hunting unit 1A, 1D, and 10A. Pronghorn did the best in this area. Fawn to doe ratio was at 55 fawns per 100 does, which is right at the long-term average. The population increased 31% from last year, and this is also the area that has the most continuous grassland, rangeland, that shrub habitat that I mentioned earlier. So this is the area that has the highest amount of that type of habitat within the management region. And then moving east, we'll move east to Highway 85 and just look at the slope as a single management region. All the hunting units east to Highway 85. Fawn production was at 48 fawns per 100 does. That's pretty similar to the long-term average. Overall, population increased by 14%. And then just lastly, the North Missouri management region, north of the Missouri River in the northwest part of the state. We had the highest fawn to doe ratio at 78 fawns per 100 does. And this is the third year that fawn production has been the highest in the extreme northwest part of the state. And the population increased by about 5% in this area. So overall, statewide, putting everything together, we had a population estimate just over 8,000. This is a similar mark to what we saw in 2024. The population was up 12% with a fawn to doe ratio of 54 fawns per 100 does. That's slightly below the long-term average of 61 fawns per 100 does. Our buck to doe ratio is remaining stable at 31 bucks per 100 does. That's on the statewide, range-wide level. So this year we're going to be issuing 1,310 licenses. This is the same amount that we had in 2025. Most units are going to have the same number of licenses as last year. Hunting unit 8A and 3B are going to have slightly fewer licenses, where hunting unit 1D and 4C are going to have a few more licenses. But overall, it's going to be the exact same number of licenses as last year. All units are open. We'll have 18 units open, including the unit that we just opened east of the river for the first time, hunting unit 17A. We issued 10 any licenses in 2025, harvested 8 animals. It was a really successful season. And I think a lot of that success is due to the people that drew those licenses were locals to the area. So they were familiar with McIntosh, Emmons, Logan County. And so they had a good hunt and knew the area well. If you're outside the area and don't know that region at all, this is probably not the unit that you'd want to apply for. With the limited amount of suitable habitat that we have in our Pronghorn range, number one, we're going to need that non-extreme winter event that doesn't knock us back and start at ground zero. We're going to need to see precipitation continue to increase across in our entire Pronghorn range. Let those vegetative conditions improve, so ultimately we can get better fawn production and survival. That's what's really driving the population, are those fawn crops. And we've been really conservative with our harvest strategies. We've been using any licenses, which in essence is a buck license. For instance, last year The 2025 harvest consisted of 94% bucks. So limited number of bucks being harvested isn't the driving force in this population trajectory. It's the fawn production and survival.